right, welcome to Screen Chat. My name's Neale Bastians, and this is the show where I sit around with friends and talk about film and television, all the related pop culture. Joining me this week, Simon Ovid. Simon, say hey.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And also, Alex Watkinson.
Hello, everyone.
All right, tonight is doubly a very special episode. This will be the Halloween episode that I was not going to record, and then Simon said, why aren't we doing a Halloween episode? And then I looked at the release schedule and realized this would be dropping the day before Halloween. I'm like, yeah, maybe we should do like a Halloween-themed thing since it's dropping the day before Halloween, I thought. A doubly special episode tonight because, well, being this is the world of radio, we'll just have to describe that Alex is basically head to toe New York Football Giants gear tonight because, like an asshole, I scheduled this to record during Monday Night Football when the Giants are playing, and knowing that Alex and I have been friends longer than we have not been friends, and he's been a Giants fan for all that time, and he is giving up the Giants game to be sitting here and recording this podcast tonight.
Well, again, a 1-6 season. I don't know how much I'm truly giving up, but if there's a pause in the action, it's because I've seen a notification on my phone, and it's probably not a good thing.
Don't worry, you can cuss because I recently learned how to bleep out cusses, so if it gets really bad, I can do a whole bleep out thing for you and polish my new skills.
Awesome.
So anyways, thanks for that sacrifice, and I appreciate it, and I definitely owe you one for this.
Much appreciate that. It's for the greater good.
The greater good, yes.
All right. Anyways, well, let's jump in here. Halloween, and I thought we'd talk about some fun Halloween movies. I'm not really like a horror type guy. Like growing up, I wasn't into super scary movies and stuff like that. So I tend to be more towards the fun Halloween movies. But we can go anywhere. So if you guys want to throw in scary movies along the way, by all means. But I thought to kick it off first, a movie that I had a chance to watch again yesterday I hadn't seen it forever. And I know it's one of Alex's favorite movies. Alex?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Halloween movie, Christmas movie.
What is it? That's the first question. What is this? A Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
That's like asking if Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie, so that's a no-brainer, but...
You know what? I think it's a little bit of both. It's such a great crossover movie that, I know in my household it's shown 12 months out of the year, but we definitely watch it before Halloween, and we'll put it on again in our regular Christmas run as well. So, but Jack's the Pumpkin King, so it's a Halloween movie.
How many different versions of it do you have on home video?
4.
Name them off.
VHS, standard DVD, collector's box DVD, and Blu-ray.
Wow.
That's a super fan, Simon. I knew that because I saw those all on his shelf recently, but I just wanted him to read it off so you could get the full effect.
I also have, thanks to the wonderful store Spencer's, I also have the entire Nightmare Before Christmas action figures. So I turned my living room into Halloween Town. It'll be starting... Actually, I'm supposed to be off on Wednesday, so it'll be on Wednesday.
Okay, so you have action figures.
Yeah.
You have Funko Pops now. I got you into the Funko Pops, and now you and your wife Lacey have started collecting the Funko Pops.
Yeah, just got the
25th
anniversary Nightmare Before Christmas with Jack and Sally up on the curvy hill from the movie scene.
Okay,
with the pumpkin patch underneath. It's one of the double wide ones. So.
And then you guys went last night. You took your 2 of your kids to the Nightmare Before Christmas sing-along special at the Park Theater here in Winnipeg.
Yeah, another super fan in the city put together a Nightmare Before Christmas sing-along. So it had all the words, had a costume contest, all ages, fun family event. Sienna won a prize, second place. She decided to dress up as Lydia from Beetlejuice, one of my other favorite
Another one we'll get into in a bit, yeah.
But it was just great to see every age, every demographic, from super fans to the casual fans, young and old, just, and literally singing at the top of their voices to some of the songs for Nightmare
stuff
Before
like
Christmas.
that, yeah. Community type things like that when everybody's doing sing-along movies or stuff like that are really fun. Okay, Simon, so you think you know what a super fan he is of Nightmare Before Christmas, right?
I got a glimpse of it right now, but
No.
I got a feeling there might be
Buckle
more.
up. Keep going. Bring out the big guns.
Bring out the big guns. Jack Skellington Halloween costume. Jack Skellington pillow throw.
I said the big guns.
The real big guns.
The big gun.
The biggest gun.
Drop the nuclear bomb on us right now.
Jack and Sally were the wedding topper on our wedding cake. And
Wow.
we had the gates and the pumpkin from the graveyard going up a ramp on the cake, which was purple and black. And the colors were basically Sally's dress.
They basically,
Nice.
de facto kind of had a Nightmare Before Christmas themed wedding.
That is so awesome.
That
Cute
is a
at the
fan.
same time.
Yeah, and actually, funny conversation my wife was having with my daughter last night. Into Burton Halloween-esque movies was, a lot of wedding dresses either one get sold off or two just get preserved for the rest of their lives in the closet until a daughter or some family member can wear it. Well, my wife's talking about dyeing it blue and tearing it up a bit so we can do a little bit of a corpse bride thing one year as well. So,
Wow.
That's awesome. Pardon me, choking to death. That's awesome. So, Simon, we know Alex is a big fan of Nightmare Before Christmas. Where does this one land for you? Were you a fan of it? Have you seen it a lot?
I've seen it. I want to rewatch it over again just because of your enthusiasm over it. There's not one person I don't know that does not enjoy A Nightmare Before Christmas. It's like so entertaining. The music that goes with it. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Like you could really get into the song and all that. And it doesn't take much to get the collectibles going on with that too.
Simon's a big collectible guy, Alex. Like that's his big thing, and that's what he does at the local Comic-Con. He has a table you buy and sell collectibles. Eh?
Oh yeah,
like all kinds of
all
stuff.
kinds. I'm not specific to one thing. I'm just all over the board, and sometimes I find something I like, then I'd be like, "Hey, what did I get this for?" But at the same time, I ended up getting one of was it Jack Skellington?
Yep.
I got one of the figures where he's dressed up as a scarecrow pumpkin, and it came
Yep.
with the
That's the opening scene. Yep.
when he has the multiple heads and all. Still in the package. Haven't taken them out yet, so.
Well, maybe you might be making a deal on that
Maybe.
one next week. I don't
Might have to
know.
talk,
Hey. Yeah, I saw it in its original theatrical run. I was dating a girl that was like big into Burton and stuff like that, so that was a big thing for her. And then I don't think I saw it again until I watched it yesterday. Not like out of avoidance or something. I just never seen it again. But I watched it again yesterday, and yeah, it was super. Like the imagery. I love the. Is it claymation? Stop motion claymation, we would call it. Yeah. I love the look of it because it's like so. What year did it come out? It came out. It was
25 years ago. So 93.
93.
Yep.
So I think that's right when Tim Burton was hitting big. And now he didn't direct it; he produced it, and it's definitely like from his studios. But yeah, like
it's it's a poem of Burton's.
Okay.
It's almost a napkin piece of Burton's.
Okay.
That has been now fully developed into the movie, and it is now bigger than I'm sure he ever imagined it would be.
Mm-hmm. I love the look of it, like the characters and the moving and everything like that, and all the characters look so scary and creepy, but not like they're still kind of like
So
approachable.
Knowing your history and the Star Trek connection, on one of the collector's sets, it has Patrick Stewart reading the original Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas poem. Yeah.
Oh, cool!
And it's I love Patrick Stewart can read you the ingredients off back of a cereal box, and it sounds awesome. So when he's reading this, it's just like chilling to listen to it. It's just amazing. So Vincent Price could have only possibly been the other person who would have done it better for me.
Oh, that would be that'd be really creepy and scary. Hey, that'd be awesome. Yeah, but no, that's a really fantastic movie, and I'm just trying to think now, what else would be in that family of movies? Is Coraline kind of in that family too?
My Family, yes.
Like in related films, that was also a Tim Burton one, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it had that similar look.
Coraline, Corpse Bride would
Corpse
fall
Bride,
in
okay.
that as well. I mean,
Isn't there a connection with all those movies of his, like Frank and Weenie?
They
like,
all sort of have Easter egg connections, but
Yeah.
are they like a connected?
Is it like one big story?
Burton
no,
verse, or no?
it's there's definitely a separation behind the films, but yeah, you'll find little Easter eggs in everything. I mean, even if you looked at live action and went into Beetlejuice, you'd see some similar themes.
There's things hidden in the background too, I think.
Yeah, so
Sandworms.
sandworms, yeah. Actually, the tongue that comes out of Oogie Boogie's mouth in Nightmare, closely resembles a sandworm from Beetlejuice. But Coraline, I mean, even for me, that one gives me the,
I haven't seen Coraline.
Hide behind the couch every now and then, dolls with button eyes and stuff like that. Now, my daughter, she's 8 now, and I think she's been watching it since she was 4, along with the Corpse Brides. So we've definitely desensitized them to it. But I would put, for slightly younger ones, I would put Nightmare first, and then give them a couple years, probably that 8 or 9 years old, before you get into Coraline.
I liked all the little details. Like I just noticed yesterday that Jack's bow tie is a bat.
Yes.
The bow ties are the wings, and then he's got a little bat head at the center of the knot is a bat head. And I noticed that his ghost dog Zero, his glowing nose is a pumpkin, is a jack-o'-lantern.
So the problem is we're gonna air this, and my wife's gonna sit there and go, "Really, you watched it twice?" And she's gonna kill me for saying this. But it was probably a year and a half ago that she noticed that it was a pumpkin. So we would have been into the hundreds of times watching it before she actually picked up on the fact that it was a pumpkin.
Okay, but how many times had she seen it on a big screen?
Once.
Just once?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times stuff like that. Now, it was weird that I noticed it yesterday, and I'm not going to lie to you. I think actually the other night, on Saturday night, she might have said it to me. She might have mentioned that to me. We were talking about it.
Very well. Because
and she might have mentioned it, and then my brain sort of blanked out. I had a few drinks on Saturday, Simon. So yesterday my brain was not fully functional. So maybe I then noticed it because she'd already pointed it out to me.
If you get a comment on this podcast, you'll get your answer then.
That probably was it. But a lot of times, like I've noticed myself watching movies that I've watched primarily on home video, some of the classic films that then I go see when they show up at the big screen. I notice stuff that I've never noticed before. Just sitting in the corner, you're like, what the heck is that? So
just from the size of it all.
Yeah, and it is just a tiny little thing. So if you weren't looking for it, it would just be a glowing nose. So
when you watch The Nightmare Before Christmas, the amount of times that you have, do you still get more excited about it each time you watch it? Or like, is it one of those movies you can never get bored with?
I don't get bored with it. I wouldn't say I get, super excited anymore. Certain songs like Jack's Lament, which is his soliloquy where he takes off his head and recites Shakespearean quotation, right? Like that's, even if I happen to be distracted or doing some work around the house and the kids want to watch it, it's definitely a stop and pause moment where I'll sit down and watch the movie with them and then maybe continue on with it around the house. But I will never get bored of it. Never get bored of it. I just thoroughly enjoy it, and I get the secondary joy of it, of sitting back and watching my little ones enjoy it too, and really getting fun of it. And Sienna knows most of the words and will sing at the top of her voice, and Tessa, my 4-year-old, will sing along knowing none of the words and make a few up as she goes. But when they start singing "This Is Halloween," she knows that part. She knows it very well and will sing it very
loudly and full of passion.
This is Halloween. Yeah. This is Halloween. Yeah, it's and it's a full-on musical. It's not even just like a Disney type movie, like where there's songs in it.
Oh no,
it's a full-on everything. Like most of the dialogue is sung, just with very few small parts in between. I had forgotten that when I was watching it. So I'm like, oh my god, this is actually like a full-on, almost like a stage musical.
And like I mentioned in the Burton segment, my very first time seeing that movie was with my very one of my very best friends from high school as well. And
I didn't see it with you.
One of.
Okay.
One of. So my big buddy Joe there went and saw it with me, and we were expecting some, a claymation, stop motion kind of horror movie, and when it became really about Jack and Sally's love story and the musical,
Did Joe leave?
Well, we didn't leave, but we might have put a chair between us with the jackets.
Okay.
After that, so but then the very next time
Simon, I have a very similar story with the same guy. So you saw it back then.
So I saw it then, and then quickly through the movie realized that this would be a better movie for me and my girlfriend. So 4 days later we were back again, or I was back again, watching the movie. That's the 2 times I saw it on the big screen, and then the third was last night, like we said, at the sing along, and it's a movie that like it or lump it, people use Adam Sandler to kick off the golf season.
Mm-hmm.
I use Nightmare Before Christmas to kick off the Halloween season. It's the
So it's your training montage music for you.
It is. Snow brings Christmas, and Jack Skellington brings Halloween.
Okay, this is a thing I have no clue. Has it ever been mounted like as a musical, like as a Broadway or as a stage musical?
As far as I know, no.
Well, it should be.
To any,
it has quite a cult following.
To any director or producer out there who has done a Broadway show on it, I apologize, but not that.
I'm kind of surprised. It's got a fully written musical score and everything like that, and full. That's weird.
And I don't think the costumes would be too impossible to pull off. Well, they did Lion King.
I should have done research. I should have done research on this. This is what happens when you go out drinking on Saturday night when you're not used to drinking very often, and you spend Sunday that was supposed to be research day laying on the couch.
If there's a Broadway musical of Nightmare Before Christmas and I missed out on it, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool.
I'm feeling that way. So
live action stage, the music.
I'm gonna have to look into this and then make a. Or maybe we should Google this while we keep talking.
Okay.
You guys talk amongst yourselves, and I'm going to Google this real quick.
I feel like it could bare minimum be a strong off-Broadway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, between all the songs, the characters, the costumes would be.
Yeah, if not literally a Broadway show,
yeah.
but like a musical theater presentation.
I can see a lot of puppeteering happening with this one.
Puppeteering would be interesting.
I think that it's style would lend very well to like a surrealistic thing with like just lots of big stage props and stuff like that, and extreme, like it doesn't, an extreme non-reality, very surreal type thing.
Again, Burton lends itself in general to wonderful backstages or backdrops. So, how you making out there?
I'm typing very horribly because I have big thumbs whenever I'm using this horrible phone.
You gotta put your glasses on.
Shut up. There's another whole sidebar about glasses, and I'm not going to get into it today.
That'll be next week's episode.
There's something here from 2 years ago saying it's apparently a live adaptation. Blah, 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 seems unlikely. Oh,
what?
Okay. No. Seems like it's unlikely at this time. I'm not going to get into the whole article here, but that's terrible. That's a sad thing. But. It
says Disney not likely to create, so it sounds like.
And if they if they won't do it, and they got their fists around it pretty tight, so that's weird that they wouldn't know. You'd think it's got such a cult following now. You'd think it would do well, but oh well, whatever. Well, we'll stay in the same vein here of Tim Burton, and going to hit up another one that I had not seen in a while, and I recently gave a rewatch. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is an awesome even though it's not literally a set at Halloween or something, it's a great Halloween-themed movie. I know you're a fan of it, Alex. That's also another one for you because you're just a big on Burton guy. Simon, are you Beetlejuice? Yes? No?
I enjoyed Beetlejuice, but I have not seen that movie in a very long time.
I had not seen it in a while. I watched it again recently, like I said, and I think it's almost like it's one of Tim Burton's best films. Because it's right before he gets super big. He was still sort of avant-garde, auteur, indie guy, but the studio gave him some money to make a thing, but not enough that he was tripping over the money.
Put a couple names in there that people would recognize.
Yeah, so the movie has like a very almost handmade look to it, quality. Like it feels very like, hey, we're still in here making this thing. We don't got a super high budge, so we're doing a lot of things and I think art thrives on limitation, and so they had to just get in there and make things, and it's better for it. Like it really thrives for it. That like the claymation parts with the sand snakes look really cool, and I think it's also right before Michael Keaton. Well, obviously before it was his movie before Batman, so it's before he blew up, and where. Later on, Michael Keaton became a more serious actor, or he got more opportunities to show more serious dramatic chops. This is like a very off the wall Michael Keaton performance, which I think he was known for in his comedy and his stage stuff at the time.
It's Mr. Mom gone Halloween. Right?
Yeah, and even like Mr. Mom and like a Gung Ho were both kind of like reeled back a little bit. Like he was a little bit where this is him just full on going out and being this weird burping, farting ghost, doing all this insane, doing human exorcisms and stuff. And that's a super movie. Like I just love that one.
Well, Michael Keaton's always been impressive because, like, I would say since Gung Ho and Mr. Mom, I was always been impressed. But I remember seeing an old clip of him from Night at the Improv when he used to do stand up. So like, wow, seeing him do stand up back in the day, it was amazing. But I would say for Beetlejuice, I even though it's been a while since I've seen the movie, but I was an absolute sucker for the cartoon of Beetlejuice
that came after.
Oh yeah, I just can't help watching. It doesn't matter if it's on repeat or anything. I just kept on watching it, and it's like the music that went with it, the other characters that came along with the cartoon. And one of the episodes I got a kick out of is when he was trying to do babysitting. And he of course, he misinterpreted the term babysitting. It was a scene of him sitting on a baby, actually.
Of course.
But for some odd reason, I just burst out laughing because I'm thinking, yes, you misinterpreted it, and you did it anyways. So
I think it's an insane fun movie too, because I also love all the calypso music. Like the entire soundtrack is all like calypso
doesn't know
music.
that song?
I know, and it's so bizarre. And that dinner scene is so awesome. And I had like almost totally forgotten about it. And then when I watch it again, I'm like, oh my god, this is so hilarious.
And Jack Skellington's appearance in Beetlejuice.
What?
Is when he rises up as the Carnival.
Yeah.
Jack Skellington's the top of the carousel's head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't
that
think I
was-
knew that.
Yep.
So that was,
there's the carousel, and it's got the dangly balls coming off of
Yeah.
it, and there's a pumpkin right on top,
Okay.
and it's Jack Skellington's face.
okay.
Yeah.
And so Tim Burton had already done drawings and stuff like that of it and imagined it in the past and snuck it in there as his own little thing. Hey,
There's a little Easter egg in
This is
there.
my little character I created. And,
Well, and then the big crossover is Catherine O'Hara.
yeah. She does the voice of Sally.
She does the voice of Sally,
Yeah.
and she's the mom in Beetlejuice, right? So
I think a great thing about Beetlejuice too is they do a great job of building anticipation for the character. That you have two little glimpses of him early on. Like you see him watching TV, and then you see, I think, his ad. You see an ad for his service, but you don't. But the character doesn't properly appear until like 25 minutes into the movie, and by that point, everybody's talking about him. It's like all the things. Who's Beetlejuice? Where should we call? Don't call Beetlejuice. He's too blah blah. And they build him up so much. But then when he finally appears, you're like, oh, let's see what this guy's all about, and that's hilarious.
and you talk about it being made how it was made, and looking like, hey, we're working hard for this. I think that's one of my favorite scenes from the movie is when they're talking to him, but he's miniature. He's shrunk back down, right? And you can see like the foam grass because he's on the miniature
love
set
that.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then he makes himself, of course, a brothel by snapping his fingers, and he's off and
No,
running.
he didn't make it. Juno made it.
Oh,
to
right.
trap him, right? To
Right,
distract him.
Right. Excuse
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
So Dante's Inferno Club or something like that.
Yeah.
So
but
how many times do you have to get Beetlejuice's attention? Do you have to say his name 3 times?
3 times.
Three
Or 5
times.
Oh, so 3
Three.
times.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
who's
like
the 5 then?
it's like Bloody Mary in the mirror, right? It's
Yeah.
3 times,
Oh.
and then you're
Candyman.
yeah.
Candyman. Tony Todd.
Well, that was the one that got me off of scary movies as a youngster.
Candyman?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. As a young guy, that one. I mean, I had watched all the Nightmares. I had watched all the Elm Streets up to that point, but I don't know what it was about Candyman. I was just like, yeah, I think
Tony
I'm done
Todd's a
with
scary
this.
dude.
Yeah.
Does he wear a lot? I've never seen Candyman. Does he wear a lot of makeup in that, or do you kind of see that it's Tony Todd?
You see that it's actually
You see him?
Yeah.
He's so weird because he can be a scary dude, and then sometimes in other roles he can be like this totally sympathetic, nice guy, total chameleon like that, but like without really wearing too much makeup or anything like that.
Very impressive, though.
But yeah, Beetlejuice is. What other Easter eggs carry forward for the? Do Easter eggs carry forward from it into other films? You're like the super fan.
Beetlejuice. Not off the top of my head.
Have you heard that they are now again attempting to develop a sequel to this?
I get notifications from someone or something, or I end up finding on my own every time somebody whispers about it. So I think it would be great as a super fan. I'd love to see it again. I don't think I think there's enough story there, or enough directions that you could take off the original story that it could be its own thing without just a complete.
Well, I think you have to make a new thing. Like
Yeah.
it can't just be again another couple or another person dead calling Beetlejuice to help them again and then doing the same thing. Beetlejuice has to be like, if not the hero, he has to be like the victim this time.
Right, but they've left the perfect segue because he had number 9,900,000,000, right?
Yeah, and then he got his head shrunk.
Start the movie. Bing. There's his number, right? Or
Didn't he swap it though? Didn't he swap his number 4 with the
he tried
head-
to swap
the head
it.
shrinker?
And the head shrinker
Yeah.
realized and shrunk his head,
Okay.
right? So you have the segue still into the next movie, and yeah, to your
That would actually be a great segue because then you would also cover for the fact that Michael Keaton has aged 30 years since the film came out.
because he's been sitting in
And it'd be
line all
fine.
day,
Yeah, even a ghost
Even-
can age, and
yeah.
it'd be kind of like, all right, finally. But for a story, I don't know what you'd make the whole story. But what if Beetlejuice now? What if there's like now a new ghost with the most in town, a new human exorcist that is a lot worse and a lot harsher, and people have to team up with Beetlejuice because this guy kicks Beetlejuice's ass. Okay, and you have that guy played by Johnny Depp. Now, I don't know how Johnny Depp's going to get cast and stuff, but if Tim Burton is making
Well,
this
you got
again-
Burton, so you got a chance.
Can you imagine that? Johnny Depp playing a Beetlejuice-style ghost, like a more evil version, and then the original Beetlejuice, the Michael Keaton Beetlejuice, has to face off against a Johnny Depp Beetlejuice?
That would
Like
be so
ghost
fantastic.
with the most off.
Can you imagine that?
I always figured it would be a Lydia's kids story.
Maybe it can be. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe Lydia and her family are around, and now Beetlejuice comes back to help her out because he feels bad because he treated her crappy, whatever, and or he has to come ask her for help, and she, okay, well, I'll let bygones be bygones, and I'll help you because you got this Johnny Depp ghost coming and causing shit.
That would be awesome.
I don't know. It could be something. That could be a thing there.
Totally.
Yeah. So.
It's going to get a following.
Oh yeah.
Like it.
I'm sometimes hesitant to go back to old franchises so long later that you're like, can they possibly do something that will live up to this? But at the same token, you're kind of like, maybe.
Well, a lot of people are trying to reboot a lot of franchises right now, so maybe this might be
There's a lot
great
of talk. A
opportunity.
personal one for me is that there's always a lot of talk about that supposedly the Coens are going to make like another Big Lebowski, and I'm like, I don't know if I want. It was so perfect. Like I don't know if I want to go back there because if it's not as good, you've kind of put this stain on it. But I don't know.
Well, Edward Scissorhands also, never ages. So could you cross them over?
I don't know. Is that a thing that even needs a sequel though?
No, but bring Johnny and Edward into Beetlejuice.
Cross all the things over.
Yeah, do a little. I don't know. Doesn't sound like Burton, but it depends on who gets involved and how much influence there is.
Even
on
just letting Johnny Depp create a brand new character, like he'd be so insane. But all right, well, I'm gonna change gears a little bit for a second. Actually, you know what, Simon? Do you have any ones you want to throw in here? I've been kind of like hogging the wheel here all night.
No worries at all.
And these were two that were right in Alex's wheelhouse, so he probably would have brought them up anyways. But what do you got?
For me, for Halloween movies,
Yeah, what's like a favorite Halloween kind of flavored movie you might like?
Well, I would have to say combination of the classic Universal monsters. Like I
Never go wrong.
am a sucker for the Frankenstein trilogy, Boris Karloff, and most definitely the original Halloween.
Okay.
Yeah, but for the Universal monster, it's Frankenstein, Boris Karloff.
Yeah. Yeah, Warren, frequent guest Warren Nightingale, and I saw a double feature last year Halloween weekend of the very original Frankenstein and the original Dracula, both from
Nice.
31 or 33, whenever they were. So that was really awesome. I particularly loved Dracula myself, but the Frankenstein, that was a really awesome and so much. It's better than anything else that ever came after in terms of Frankenstein, but I don't think I've ever seen the two follow-ups. What were they? Bride?
I think the second one was The Bride of Frankenstein, and I forgot what the third one was called because I didn't realize there was a third one because I was watching it on AMC, and I think it was AMC's Fright Fest or something like that. And I'm like, oh wow, there's a third one. I didn't know that. So it's like, so I actually ended up pulling an all-nighter by watching the first, second, and third one and all. So
When did you first? When was the first time you saw the original, like those old, the classic ones?
what got me started with Frankenstein, believe it or not, was the old TV show, The House of Frightenstein.
The hilarious House of Frightenstein.
That's how I got.
Oh my God!
Speaking of Vincent Price, yeah.
I wish we could sit right now and watch an entire episode of that, because that movie or that show was awesome.
Oh, totally awesome. And that's how I got started with the Universal classic monsters, because I saw the Dracula, the Frankenstein, the werewolf, and all that. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, it's these guys, VHS, you're at a video store and all that. Next you know it, like, you think it'd be those guys from the hilarious House of Frankenstein, and I was wrong, because it was in black and white. And I'm like, but I still watched it anyways. And
Ooga booga!
Exactly.
Oh, I want that on a shirt now.
Yeah, so I just got hooked on those guys as the years gone by. It's like just amazing acting, their idea of special effects at the time. Dr. Frankenstein going, "It's alive, it's alive!" Like just
That's one of the most iconic images in film ever. Or lines,
totally. Just how he got into it, and I forgot who the actor who played Igor, that was part of it too. Like just the way they did the makeup and the clothing for him during that time period. It's I like the older movies like that.
And it's never been reproduced. Thinking of the topic on the way over, and I agree with you. I like the classic, the Swamp Thing, the Blob, but again,
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Creature from the Black Lagoon. But then that generation seemed to just stop, right? And the monsters all became human.
Yes.
Right? Then, being an 80s child, right? Nightmare and
Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, right? And then it was like, I kind of yearn for the classic monster movie to come back, just to see something. And I'm not big into the slasher gory flicks anyways, but
well, and that's the thing, because I noticed a little change in the horror scene. Like I think the 80s horror movies would always stand out more because of how many numerous sequels that we had, like with Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, and I think there was a few from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
yeah.
But the ones that stood out for me was actually Nightmare on Elm Street, the Friday the 13th. But the one I got a kick out of too was like Ghoulies and Critters.
Oh,
and
Ghoulies. Yeah, Ghoulies was awesome.
Ghoulies and House was the other one.
Yes, House.
I wonder how they'd hold up now, because I haven't seen either of those since like VHS days when you would pick them off the video store shelf.
I'm pretty sure House was just like garbage. When I sit back and truly think about it, what I liked.
Fright Night.
But as a kid at the time, right? It was fantastic. It was like waiting for Tales of the Crypt Keeper to come on late at night too. You weren't so much concerned with maybe the quality of acting or the effects. It was the fact that you were going to get the pants scared off you for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
And the music that plays with it, like the music score, like building up the anticipation. Like, I don't know, like for me, I like there's still all classics, like with all aspects of horror. But this one is not particularly horror, but like Halloween to me is like I treat it like Christmas. I like the events that are held in our city. Anything that's Halloween themed, the movie marathons that we have, the pictures of costumes and people planning what they want to do and so forth. It just goes with it. And you see the classics of the Frankenstein movies, and you see the 80s horror movies, and you see the 90s version. But you can't go wrong with the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown either. So
yeah,
that is a must at our house. My wife bought it, out of the $5 bin or $2 bin at Walmart when she saw it, and ever since, my daughter Kirsten is going to be 19 right away, and we've been watching it every year since, and just an amazing, that is Halloween. The sitting in the pumpkin patch waiting for the great
pumpkin.
And
it doesn't always have to be about the horror aspects. Like I that's the thing, is like, to me it's like I could get away with watching the original Nightmare on Elm Street, but yet I could just watch the Great Pumpkin afterwards, and just for shits and giggles and all, and just reminisce as a kid again. But at the same time, it's like when I see some changes lately, it's almost like, what direction are they really going to go with? Like, I got a chance to see was it Insidious 1 through 3 already.
Oh, yeah.
And I enjoyed the first one and all that, and I think I chuckled a bit in the second one because just the way they were presenting the film itself and so forth. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see Insidious.
I haven't
No,
seen
not that
Insidious.
one.
No.
No, it's an interesting film. But again, I didn't again realize that how all those stories like Insidious and I think Annabelle and they're all connected.
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah.
So-
That's what I've heard as well. And it's interesting watching those. The Paranormal Activities, which came out, which was kind of like almost like a Blair Witch type Blair Witch Project type movie where you're sitting there watching it and you're almost watching it through the security camera through the house and doors are closing and bunch of bad crap's happening and
Found footage became its own subgenre for a decade and a half.
It did, and I enjoyed it.
Like as in someone finds a film and they watch it.
Like the camera. Yeah, the film's basically supposed to be cut from footage that somebody found, like from security cameras, or like Blair Witch, it was supposed documentary film, or wasn't the first Cloverfield supposed to be like just a found video camera or something like that? Yeah.
But actually, my closest one I ever came to watching it, and I can't believe I braved myself to watch this as a kid, Cannibal Corpse.
Cannibal Corpse. I've never seen that one.
I think it's Cannibal Corpse or Cannibal Holocaust or something like. Wait a minute, I think Cannibal Corpse is a band. I think it's. Cannibal.
If it's not, I'm going to start a band and call it Cannibal Corpse and just play Halloween's because that sounds like an awesome band name.
Cannibal. Let's see, punch up on. Oh, here we go. Cannibal Holocaust, 1980 is like probably like really brutal, and I'm amazed I was able to stomach myself through it as a kid. I'm amazed I'm probably traumatized by it back in the day, but at the same time, it was like found footage.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to find what happened to these reporters or something like that. It was like I don't know if it was like a foreign film or something like that, but apparently it got banned in a few theaters and so forth. Like sometimes I'd be amazed, like I bet when we used to have HMV, I would like look in their DVD section and all that, and you find a section of horror, and these are movies that never got released to theaters. But you see I never thought I'd see the day where a warning label about this film was banned in what's many theaters, and I'm like. They actually have a label for that, and so,
I'm sure that was probably a hype thing for them, but I did not know this until recently. But I was clued in by Warren that we were having a discussion, and I can't remember if it was on the podcast or not, about the rating system, like how in the States they have the ratings, and in Canada it's different. And I was asking him how it was done in Canada, like what the ratings board was in Canada, and actually he clued me in that it's actually done provincially, and there are sometimes films that will be okay in Manitoba but like banned in Saskatchewan or vice versa.
Oh, no way.
I can't remember what movie it was, but I think there was some horror film or something like that Warren had seen in Ontario because he was living in Ontario growing up, but it had never been shown in Manitoba.
I thought it was always been across the board.
Nope. In more recent years, it generally tends to be, but it is actually, I think by the book, it is done provincially.
Oh, okay. Wow. So are we the ones that have the NC-17 up here, or is that?
I think that's an American thing.
American.
I don't think we have an NC-17, but we can take kids in to see an R-rated film. But in the States, they can't. If it's an R-rated film, your parents can't even take you in to see it, I don't think.
I think it might be an age thing that they'll disclaimer when it comes to R-rated. Because I remember when Deadpool came out, the first one, apparently there was staff members that were actually stopping families from taking their young kids in. So I think there was like some sort of age.
I saw young kids in it, but I guess it depends on whatever they want to do at the theater. But in recent years, I think horror films maybe got a little tame for a while, and then when R-rated films weren't drawing enough box office, but now in recent years R-rated films have made a real comeback, and the horror movies have gotten a lot more R-rated now. What have I seen recently? It I saw, but I guess everybody saw it.
I never saw it.
No,
I saw the original.
Saw the original.
I didn't think it was all that great as a horror film. It was like a carnival ride where it was just a bunch of jump scares, and you would just go, oh, okay, and then the movie would go into a new room, and a thing would go, and jump out and scare you. It wasn't like a psychological thing. It didn't really scare me. Like, I didn't feel like a thing is stalking you, just so much as it was just like going on like a funhouse ride where things just keep popping out at you.
I think a lot of the hype with it was a lot of the people that were excited for it to come out and see it
Mm-hmm.
were a lot younger. They were in their teenage years when they first saw it, or juvenile years when they first saw it. So yeah, back then when you watched the creepy,
I'm sure
clown,
compared to the TV show, this must have been like way different.
right?
I don't know. Tim Curry's acting though.
Tim Curry is creepy.
Yeah,
But
he pulled off that character really well.
yeah,
so-
I'm not familiar
but
with the
I can't
book
compare
either.
it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the book, so I can't speak to that. But I can't, like with a Stephen King writing, I'm sure the book must have been a lot more psychological and a lot more
There was a lot
in depth.
more.
So the movie must have really just skimmed the surface of what it was about and kind of used the name and the idea of a scary clown, because clowns are scary as hell. That's a legit thing.
That is a legit thing. My brother-in-law, you can't. I mean, this time of year, just he gets about 85 texts and posts sent to Facebook and his phone and stuff like that, all of clown pictures, because everybody in the world knows.
I don't want to name him on the podcast, but the brother-in-law I know,
the brother-in-law, yeah.
I did not know this.
Yes,
Oh my God.
Would you say it's a phobia that he has?
it's very close to a phobia. I don't,
Because there's an actual phobia that people.
I know
do.
there is.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah,
Now I want to send him clown pictures.
there you go.
That makes me a bad person, but I don't know. I did not know this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You can step it up a notch more.
Because this is another guy I've known like almost as long as I've known Alex. Wow.
You gotta start paying attention to us every now and then.
Oh my God.
It's lost in his own world.
I do. This is unbelievable. Warren has a friend that I know the guy. Like I'm an acquaintance of the guy, and I gave him a hearty handshake when it came out last year. His son, who I think is 15 or 16, went with a buddy to go see it, and when he came while they were out at the movie, Warren's friend Mike, the father of this boy, and his buddies, the other kid's father, both arranged that they put red helium balloons in the boys' bedrooms. So when they came home from watching it, they walked into their bedrooms, and there was a red helium balloon, a single red helium balloon hanging over their bed. And yeah, Mike's kid freaked out when he walked in. I'm like, holy, that's like lifelong trauma for your kid, but like, well played, sir.
Well, at least
well
it wasn't
played.
underneath the bed.
Oh.
And that's why we watch these movies. Like again, I talk about House, and it was a Halloween party. It was junior high. It was my buddy Joe and a bunch of girls from high school, and we watched House. Then we went trick or treating around the area, and then I was crashing at my buddy Joe's place that night. And of course, midnight hits, and the big thing is opening the closet door at midnight. So there's us with bats and all sorts of weapons, and no, you open it. No, you open it, right? And I remember my buddy.
You open it. It's your house.
I remember my buddy Joe again telling me, isn't the first nightmare or the second nightmare where Freddy Krueger comes up through the waterbed. Mm-hmm. Well, he's sleeping in my buddy Joe had a waterbed, right? So he's like, he slept on the floor that night. Right? But that's why you watch those movies.
Yep.
It's that, we talked about
Flatliners did that for me. I saw Flatliners.
The original?
Yeah,
With
like
Kiefer?
with Kiefer.
Yeah.
And I don't think I slept that night because I think my folks were out at the lake and they probably had my brother with them. I would have been like 16 or 17, so I would have stayed home because I would have been working the weekend. And then I think after work I went to watch Flatliners, and I don't think I slept that night.
I watched 7.
Oh my God! Not strictly a horror, but what a terrifying film!
But I watched 7.
What a messed up movie!
And
That's with
Brad Pitt,
Brad
Morgan
Pitt.
Freeman.
Yes, I saw that one.
And it had been out. I didn't get a chance to see it in a theater.
I saw it in a theater.
My relatives were in town from England, so my parents decided to take them out to the cabin in Gimli. And because my relatives were in town, they took the dog and the cats and they put them in the kennel. And I was out visiting my girlfriend late and decided, I got nobody at home. I'm just gonna stop at Roger's Video on the way home. And 7, sure, I'll watch 7. So room in the basement, right? Watching 7, and probably at one of the first stressful points, and it's a cooler fall evening, so of course the furnace decides to kick in.
Oh.
Well, as everybody knows, if you've been in a house by yourself, there's no creepier sound than the furnace turning.
Oh yes,
Firing,
I,
right.
I agree.
And my normal go-to was, well, grab the dog.
Except
So I
he's
go
not
running
there.
out of the room to grab the dog. I don't have a dog. Now I'm alone in the big house in the dark with the furnace on. Stopped the movie, went to bed, waited for daylight, watched the rest.
Oh, what's in the box? Oh,
It's
man.
safer in the daytime. But isn't it amazing how some of these movies could just make your imagination run away with you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the fantastic thing about Halloween. Like it's just, it's the imagination uncorked, right? Like you said, watching the community get involved, watching people's imagination, the costumes, the house decoration.
That's why I like that our local Comic-Con is always at Halloween weekend, because then we get to see a lot of those costumes. Simon obviously, books a table there every year, and I'm there at least 2 days a year, and so we get to see so many of those costumes, and I love all the creativity there, the scary ones and the other ones.
Just the imagination that everyone has when it comes to their cosplays and their costumes, and seeing like the families get involved and seeing that, like, it to me is just amazing and so forth with that. So.
I think it's solid therapy. I mean, like, let's be honest. We have to be this version of ourselves, every other day of the year. Like, could we just not take one night or, a week or two, let's say at the end of October every year and be somebody completely different, right? Like, let's dress up. I'd love to walk down Main Street in my Jack Skellington costume in the middle of July, but other people might think differently and have me committed. But yeah,
do you have a mask for it too? For when you go full on out?
I do.
Yeah.
I have the full head. Yeah. So
nice.
Are you gonna be rocking that on Halloween?
I have 2 versions. I'm almost thinking I'm going to do a mashup this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be Jack Skellington version of the Hatter.
Okay.
Of Tim Burton's Hatter.
Mm-hmm.
So,
is that a thing that do they transpose Jack Skellington into different Tim Burton characters?
What at the sing-along,
Or like a fan thing?
It's a fan thing. I like a lot of
I
things.
love mashups. One of my favorite things at Comic-Con, I don't know if you're aware of this, Alex. Simon would know about it because he's a cosplayer, but I love the mashups when they take people take 2 characters and jam them together and create their own thing. I just love the creativity of mashups. Mashups is the right word, right?
Well, I think that there is an actual term. I'm not too sure what it is, but it's I think we'll go with mashup for now, because I remember this one girl. She it was like online, and she did a steampunk version of Harley Quinn.
I've seen one actually at the local one, but I've seen a lot of different pictures of different versions. I love steampunk, mashups of traditional characters.
Oh, it's
steampunk
amazing.
is awesome. I love the aesthetic of it. I just and steampunk people tend to be very creative by nature.
creative.
But yeah, no, I love steampunk
Well,
stuff.
and it's got the the vintage costumes are beautiful. Like,
Man, now I want to see a steampunk Jack Skellington. That'd be cool.
Well, one of the one of the ladies there last night who actually came over to talk to Sienna as Lydia and was so thrilled that she was the only one dressed up in a Beetlejuice character. She was donning what she called the Dapper Jack. So she had Jack Skellington, but she had more of a classic classic blazer, almost Sherlock Holmes era blazer, with the top hat and very well pulled off. Very, it's like I said, it's those little mashups, those little crossovers that, they're fantastic and done right. Absolutely.
Do you know by any chance that event you were at last night? Does it have like an official website, or has she got like an Instagram page where she's posted pictures from the event or anything we can direct people to?
There is a hashtag on Instagram that I can bring up. Bear with me while I dig it up here, but I'll have to find one.
You got a favorite kind of costume, Simon, that you like seeing every year? You look forward to a new variation on it at Comic-Con?
I have no real favorites because I just love what everyone is doing with theirs. Like, it took me a while to shake up a few things when I did my cosplays. Like, I finally did Mace Windu for the last couple of years, so everyone was waiting for me to do that one. But I think what started it off was actually my very first cosplay is doing Nick Fury.
Yeah, I was going to say, me and
Nice.
Warren ran into, like, one of the first times I met you, you were doing Nick Fury.
Yeah. And it's still a favorite. Like, everyone's still waiting for me. They're happy when I do one or the other. but it seems like some of my friends prefer me to do Nick Fury. But now it's like, oh, it would be nice to see you do Mace Windu, and then all of a sudden they're all surprised that I got the purple lightsaber to go with it, and I'm like, well, gotta have that.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking to do other characters too, like mashup wise. I'm not too sure yet, because like there was this mashup of Samuel L. Jackson as a combination of Nick Fury and Mace Windu.
Yeah, so there is a hashtag. It is WPG, N as in Norman, B as in Bob, 4C, or WPG, Nightmare Before Christmas. There's about 23, 24 posts of some of the great costumes. Dapper Jack is in there. Oogie Boogie's in there. Jack was Zero. Just some fabulous costumes. And again, just different takes and different spins on the movie itself. So
Fantastic. I love stuff like that.
Oh, totally. So, do you guys have your favorite Halloween treats?
Rockets.
Rockets. I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite. Like I like chocolate. Rockets are a really good thing.
I get a bag of rockets all to myself every Halloween.
Oh my God,
That's
so
my
much
Halloween
sugar.
present
That's
from
a
my
go-to.
wife.
That stuff is literally compacted sugar. It's literally just compacted sugar into pellets.
Is there an and or a but or something to go along with
I
that?
can't. A whole bag of it. It's like, oh my God, it's like diabetes in a bag. That's, oh God. How about you, Simon?
My dentist loves it.
I think every dentist is going to be booming with business in the next little while. For me, I like the Rockets, most definitely. That's a go-to candy right there, along with the mini Kit Kats. Yeah, because somehow the minis, I don't know if it's because you shovel more in your mouth.
Yeah, I'm just going to say the mini chocolate bars are bullshit because you know what? I don't eat one. It's not like you go, oh, this is snack size. Then I just eat 5 mini chocolate bars.
So bullshit or marketing genius?
Oh, marketing genius. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, people, it's a snack size. Snack size anything just tastes like more. Yeah,
but I remember the old, when the candy that we used to get as kids, it was like wrapped up in some sort of orange wrapper and it had like a little bat and moon, but it was like some sort
It was like brownish
candy, like
Yeah.
like a toffee or something.
toffee, but it wasn't a caramel. And
wasn't
I
a
always thought it was a caramel, and then was greatly disappointed.
And it would always be the very last candy we would eat out of our pile.
Yeah, in like February or something.
In February, and
yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
yeah. So what's the one candy you can't get? Like just
I hated?
yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think back. There was probably ones. I don't know. I haven't trick or treated in so long, and I don't have kids, so it's not even like I'm going through their stuff and having flashbacks.
Well,
I might come raid your girls this year and just like
that's fine.
accidentally stuff
why
a
don't we
couple
make a
handfuls.
plan and go trick or treating ourselves?
Oh my
There you
God!
go.
I feel like you'd get arrested nowadays. Older guys going trick or treating, I feel like somebody would call the cops.
Most likely.
They call the cops on everything. So yeah, you're probably right. So
So how about this? Why don't we just go to a Costco, get all the Halloween candy, and just go nuts ourselves?
And we could just
Binge
knock
night,
on my
yeah.
door. You guys could just come knock on my door, and I'll hand a bunch of candy, and then I'll stand outside. You can stand inside, and I'll knock on the door, and you guys can hand me some candy.
It'll be safer that way.
So, Alex, have you ever thought about doing your house up as Halloween Town? Doing up your whole yard?
I have.
You have done it, or you've thought of it?
I have thought of it. I do the inside up with the action figures and everything
Yeah,
else.
but you're not inviting the neighborhood inside.
Yeah, it becomes it will probably be closer to the retirement time of my life where Halloween will turn into this monthly creation, I'm sure, and it can grow and build. I'll be honest, I work in retail as a retail manager, so sometimes time is of the essence, and a father of 4. So sometimes
What about this? Just to plant this seed in your brain to grow to sprout in your retirement years. That you could do Halloween Town, Halloween, and then after Halloween, you could slowly morph it into like Halloween Town at Christmas. As Christmas approached, you could slowly add in some of the Christmas elements that they're stealing, including Sandy Claus.
Sandy Claus. I like it.
He doesn't even have claws for hands. He has hands. That part cracked me up yesterday.
I definitely an option. definitely an option. So no, definitely something we've looked at and talked about. I'm sure once there's enough time to sit down and get the creative juices. I mean, I booked the 30th and 31st off this year, and probably will start to expand till the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. And once it becomes that point, then we'll maybe for the 30th. Give me 5 years for Nightmare Before Christmas 30th. We'll celebrate that with a bang.
You'll have to figure out a way to make the curvy hill. Get Jack and Sally up there.
Sounds like he's volunteering to help me with this.
I think so too.
It sounds like I'm volunteering to encourage your insanity and then be like, I don't know how you do that. I'm just the idea guy.
But I just love it when people go really go all out with decoration with their houses for Halloween. Like it's just amazing the creativity. Like I've seen from like the makeshift tombstones and making like a little grave site and just the lighting that they use, the pumpkins that have very vibrant decorations now than ever before. Not in your standard jack-o'-lantern phase. We got people that are doing sound effects now and the lighting. Like it's just amazing how like just all comes together. Like how could you not like this?
Yeah, we're a larger bay, and we've got about a dozen houses, I want to say, where on the 31st everybody books the day off of work. And on the 30th, you'd walk by there and never know we were doing anything for Halloween. And then on the 31st, by trick-or-treat time, it is full-blown, gateways and haunted houses and fog machines. And one guy drives his car into the lamppost that's on his property, and he's got mannequins falling out of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's just... And then same thing, they're all off on the 1st. So by end of business day on November 1st, it's like nothing ever happened the night before. Like it's
just like a scene from a movie.
Just like a scene from a movie, yeah.
That is awesome. Like that's amazing to have that kind of creativity. Like it's just amazing. Like just the brainstorming that people have when it comes to decorations in so many ways. I remember one time I was trick or treating as a kid. One of the houses in the neighborhood was actually trying to be like a haunted house, and they did the all, we'll do this for you guys. Like when they blindfold you, and they get you to touch things like where it was like, oh, these are the eyes, but it turns out to be grapes or cold boiled eggs or something like that. And this is the person's hair, but it's like cold spaghetti. Like it was amazing. You don't see that kind of interaction nowadays, or anything like that. Maybe at a community club or some sort of
probably
event.
in a more controlled environment.
Controlled environment. But it's amazing that like back in the day, how everyone was just really getting into it and having fun, and I think people still do have fun, but like you said, like in more of a controlled environment. So
I'm going to throw this back now. Something popped in my brain. I'd be remiss if I did not mention another one of my favorite Halloween themed movies is
Jaws.
No. Is it that a Halloween themed movie? It's a horror. It could be
suspense.
But we talk about Jaws too much on this show. I'm gonna have a whole Jaws episode. I was gonna say the original recipe Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like that one. Still holds up today.
Another must.
Still holds up today. I saw it in its original theatrical run. Saw it on home video. I gotta say that. Back in the days of VHS, so we would have had it. I've got to think now. What year did it come out? Ghostbusters, is that 84, 85?
In the late 20th century.
Ghostbusters, 84. So
1984.
I would have been 10 when it came out, and then it would have come on video about a year later. So in 1985, we had, at our home, we had a dubbed copy of Ghostbusters. And I think over Christmas break, my brother Corey watched it on a loop nonstop, barring sleeping and being forced to come up to the dinner table for meals. But he basically watched it on a loop for 3 days, I think.
And he survived to tell the tale.
And I would go down and watch it with him for a while, and then I'd go away and come back, and he would just stay there and keep watching it again and again and again. And then he and I had a super fun time, I guess, a few years ago on the 30th. Yeah, well, I guess 4 years ago now, on the 30th anniversary of it, they had a re-release, and he lives in Vancouver now, so I happened to be there visiting him on vacation, and it was in the Cineplex, and we went and saw it again, and I think we said most of the lines out loud, and
Mass hysteria.
yeah,
dogs and cats
living together.
Yeah.
No, but that's an amazing film, and it. But for one or two places with the photographic effects, it all still holds up and looks great, and the comedy's awesome.
Oh, the comedy is timeless.
You just don't get comedy. You don't get, it's so hard to get that many funny guys together in one movie nowadays.
Well, you
without
have Bill
egos getting in the
Murray.
way. Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, Rick Moranis. Who else is in there?
Susan Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon.
She's
Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver. There we go. I'm going the wrong way. I'm back on the baseball movies.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So basically, this movie had a combination of Saturday Night Live and SCTV with a little hint of Alien.
I'm feeling terrible.
Yes.
I'm losing. Oh, Ernie Hudson was good in there too. There's a lot.
Annie Potts.
Annie Potts,
Yeah.
as Janine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that movie was amazing. And like I said, Corey's like the super fan of it. He's seen it. He must have seen it 200 times, on video the first year. But yeah, we had so much fun watching it again in the theater. And that's one that this time of year is a really great one. Another great one that I have not seen enough, and recently I've been trying to look for it to catch it on the PVR, and I'm disappointed it hasn't been seen enough though. But is Addams Family. Raul Julia, Angelica Houston, and Addams Family, because I love that. I saw part of the second one recently, and I'm like, oh yeah, Addams Family. This was so much fun, and it was so well done.
You're right. It has seemed to drop off. It's almost faded away, and we almost have to start a petition to get that brought back into regular
I would love
rotation.
to see. Yeah,
Actually, I'm amazed how much the Addams Family did branched out a lot, because I remember the reruns of the black and white TV show.
Yeah.
I remember there was an actual cartoon of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then wasn't there like at least 2 reincarnations of the TV of them as a TV show again?
I think they tried to. I think like that and the Munsters both tried to reincarnate as TV shows 10 or 15 years ago, and neither of them worked out.
I would love to see. Actually, I wouldn't mind seeing like in the theater a Munsters movie.
Yeah.
And have Tim Burton direct the crap out of it.
There you go.
That would be cool. They made the TV show. I was going to say, I wonder if there's like licensing rights there, but if they got away with making the TV show, that there must not be. But, and Addams Family, I think, did decently well.
Yeah.
Well, they came up with 3 movies, didn't they? Or is it 2?
2, and then I think they might have been planning a third, and then Raul Julia passed away. But, I'd love to see it as like even... I love seeing I'd love to see a Halloween weekend Universal monsters, the classic ones, like a marathon. Like I would sit all day and watch like Original Recipe, Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy.
Oh, The Mummy.
Like Bride, Frankenstein, maybe Invisible Man, maybe Creature from Black Lagoon, and Wolfman. I guess those would be the original 6 or 7, the real ones. But yeah, I would watch all those. I'd also, on the same token, love to watch like a Halloween weekend thing where you can go and watch Beetlejuice, Nightmare Before Christmas, Ghostbusters, Addams Family, and watch all these fun, more family-oriented ones. But
well, here's one for you guys. You guys ever heard of the movie Freaks?
Freaks. No, I don't think I've heard of Freaks.
It is an old black and white movie, and it has to do with a circus, and it has like actual. I might be wrong by saying this, but I think there were actual circus freaks back in the day, and they're the ones that had the little chant going to "One of us, one of us."
One of us, one of us.
Yeah.
Is that where that comes from?
Yeah.
Learn something new every podcast.
If you guys ever get a chance, I think AMC or maybe Turner Classic, they always show it around Halloween, and it's like not scare you kind of thing. It's more like make you jump a little bit, and the story arc goes with about a circus, and this one of the performers got wrapped up with this gorgeous blonde woman, and it turns out to be like a little ruse to get him to sell the circus. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's like it still stands out for me whenever Halloween comes around. and it's all these people that are like, like armless or a little deformed, and like a lot of people were trying to figure out, well, is that makeup or is it like so far? Like I'm sure there's a story behind it between the characters, but at the same time, it was just amazing how they'll have the person who's like looks like the bird lady or like a freak show kind of thing. But it was just amazing how the movie was played out. Like it is a good story arc though, about someone trying to be like a ruse, like to rob someone in such a manner, and trickery and so forth. But when you see all these characters at the dinner table going one of us in like one big chant, it was just amazing to see. So if you guys ever get a chance to check out Freaks,
I will. I'm going to punch that into my my search for the on the PVR. Another cool one that just popped in my brain that I saw a couple of years ago when I was living in Vancouver. Not like around October, middle of October, they actually played the original Hitchcock Psycho at the Orpheum Theatre there, which is a theater that was built, I believe, in the 1920s, and they do it with the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra playing the score live, and so that was really fun to go watch.
And Hitchcock was, my dad was a major Hitchcock fan.
Oh, really?
Up. Yeah,
I did not know this.
And that was suspense for us. Like I remember watching Birds.
Birds
with my dad and thinking, I'll never go into a telephone booth near the beach ever again, where there's seagulls and all that stuff flying around. Because
I'm just going to a little sidebar about the Freaks. 1932.
Wow. Well, I'm going to have to look for that.
Yes. You have to check it. Black and white, 1932, an hour and 30 minutes. But as for Alfred Hitchcock, oh my God. From Psycho, Birds, is just amazing. That just the imagination that man had to put something together like those.
Yeah, I've tried to catch a lot of his films have been cycling through the classic film series in the past few years, and I've seen them. But Psycho with the Vancouver Symphony playing Bernard Herrmann's classic, one of the more iconic Hollywood scores of all time alive, was really, really fun.
And Vertigo.
Vertigo is another one. Yeah, well, we saw that at the classic film series here at Cineplex a few years ago. But yeah, that's really awesome.
So I got to throw out there, because I'm worried somebody listening is going to say we're not really movie fans or Halloween fans if we don't put this out there. We got to go Rocky Horror Picture Show.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
The original cult film.
How could, again, that one we wait till the kids go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's. Have
you ever been to an event for the Rocky Horror?
I have not been to an event.
Neither have I gotta say. It's one of those ones I've always wanted to.
Amazing. Like I remember at the park, I think it used to be the Park Theater that used to do it before. And I never, for the longest time, I was always wondering why people was bringing bags of bread to the event. I'm like, guys making sandwiches or something, but it turns out to be it's part of the
thing, throwing bread at the screen, water pistol,
and all that,
screaming out, like calling out certain, like quoting certain dialogue as it certain specific dialogue, or talking to
and
the
it's
screen.
Almost like the more I hear more about it, it's like, shouldn't there be a documentary?
I'm sure there is
about this.
I'm sure there is. I'm remiss in not knowing it off the top of my head, but there must be something. But
and that's another Tim Curry movie, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he's Frankenfurter. That's the name of the character. Yeah, yeah. That came from a stage play, or that came from a stage production.
No,
and then was made into a movie. Yeah.
Wow.
And Tim Curry played the role on Broadway, and that's how he got the role in the film. But
so he started out with stage with this one, and then became film, and they brought him on board.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. They recruited him. I'm not sure how much of the cast, but I know Tim Curry was playing Frankenfurter on Broadway.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So in other words, there's a whole bunch of movies we just mentioned to each other that we need to get.
We've talked about movies that we know of and that we got to get caught up on. So maybe next year we'll have the second annual Halloween episode, and we'll have seen some of these things, or maybe we'll make a point in advance of going as a group and seeing them, and we'll have a whole a screen chat roundtable.
So are we going to recognize this as a Halloween special or just a Halloween episode?
I think this will be the. Can we call it the Screen Chat Halloween Spooktacular without being too cheesy?
If it wasn't cheesy, I'd be upset.
Is that a thing? Yeah. So I think we'll have to make it an annual event. Thanks, Simon, for suggesting it and for waking me up to the fact that the show was actually going to be on the day before Halloween, so it should probably be Halloween themed. I was going to completely miss this one, so hats off to you. I owe you a drink on that one.
Not a problem.
Alex, thanks for coming by and sharing so much of your your Tim Burton knowledge and your expertise on particularly on Nightmare Before Christmas there.
Well, thanks again. You gave me an opportunity to talk about it twice, so I'm honored.
Well, we'll have to go at least a third time. We're gonna do just a whole I think Nightmare Before Christmas commentary episode.
I think it makes me have to dive into my DVD collection to see if I do have a copy of it.
I'll get you one if you don't.
Yeah,
Okay, awesome.
He's got one for every day of the week.
Yeah.
And I want to apologize for coughing through this whole episode. I am actually just getting over a plague that almost reduced me to as actually becoming a zombie or the living dead over the past couple of weeks. But I hope it wasn't too annoying listening to me cough all night. And we're going to wrap things up there. And until next time, this has been Screen Chat. And who are you going to call?